is to stand up and talk for my rights. I know what that is. See? And I don't care who the guy is. Because my right is my right.
Get up, stand up for your right.
Ask the Lawyer with Brian Figueroa, founder and senior partner at the law firm of Figueroa and Associates. Mr. Figueroa opened his private practice in downtown Brooklyn in 1996. He specializes in personal injury, immigration, matrimonial law, bankruptcy, and wills and estate planning, with a strong emphasis on litigation matters. As the Lawyer features Brian's legal advice as he answers listeners' questions and shares his insights in achieving your goals and objectives. Every week, As the Lawyer also features interviews and guests related to Mr. Figueroa's interests outside the law. Guests and topics include health and wellness, the civil rights war, music production, writers, as well as international and local political and religious leaders. Wide-ranging, fun, informative radio. That's Ask the Lawyer with Brian Figueroa. Ask the Lawyer any question you like via email at bfigeroux@msn.com. That is bfigueroa@msn.com for legal advice regarding specific situations. Appointments at the office will be made when you call 855-768-8845. Again, 855-768-8845. Please note that submitting questions do not create an attorney-client relationship.
Today in our studio we have Mr. Winton Sharp, criminal defense attorney. Why don't you guys just shut up? You know your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Mr. Sharp, whether it be increasing robberies, domestic violence, obviously protesters have been arrested and will still be arrested, and now the FBI or whoever federal forces Trump want to send them to the cities. Tell me some of the problems that you have in terms of your clients when they are arrested, what it is, what are they not doing or should be doing?
Well, as the first thing you said is just keep quiet. There's nothing that you can say that is going to encourage the police officers not to lock you up. And as I said, everything you say can be used against you. That combination of keeping quiet and the fact that it can be used against you, that's a recipe for disaster. So by the time it actually gets to me, after you've been arrested, then you go to the judge and you're arraigned, and you come to me and say, Mr. Sharp, can you help me with your case? You have already built it into it issues that I'm going to have to rectify. If you just kept your mouth shut, we'd have a better chance.
Okay, and a lot of time we get those calls from the clients, or this detective want to meet with me. What should they do when they get these calls from law enforcement?
Same thing. First thing you do is you call your attorney. That's the first step. Don't prance into the police department. These people are not your friends, all right? Don't go in there and say, okay, let me tell you what happened. I know it's the desire for innocent people to want to tell their own story, but it's a recipe for disaster. Because again, you are trying to tell your story, the police is investigating. Those things are diametrically opposed to each other. The more you talk, the easier you make their investigation. So call your attorney, speak to him or her first, hopefully him, that being me, and then thereafter, we go into the precinct together if we decide that's a good idea. Most often not.
Okay, do officers lie to people?
Okay, not only do officers lie, officers can legally lie, right? Which is to say they can tell you anything that they need to tell you in order to get you to tell your story, right? They'll keep you in there for as long as they're supposed to. It's supposed to be 24 hours, the whole process takes. But once you're in there, and if you haven't called your attorney, who's counting the time? Right? So they have you in there in the middle of the night by yourself, questioning you, and you are spilling your guts. And what do you think the purposes of that is? Such that you walk out free? If that was the case, you wouldn't be in the precinct to begin with.
So what is the magic sentence for them to stop the interrogation?
Can I please contact my attorney? Or depending on where you're from, call my lawyer. Whichever variation you want to use.
But why do people continuously believe that they could out-talk law enforcement?
I think it's a desire. Well, I don't think it's an intellect thing. I think it's just, I didn't do anything. Let me tell you so you can let me go. It's not the police department's job to let people go.
So they should do like Shaggy. It wasn't me, and I want to speak to
No,
my
not
lawyer.
even that. I have nothing to say. You understand? Nothing. Don't volunteer any information. Give your name. That's about it.
In this age where they have a lot of video recordings, a lot of people are doing their crimes, cyber crimes. A lot of youths are committing credit card fraud. What are the issues you see there with these type of crimes?
Again, it's the belief. This generation is interesting because they think that they're technologically sound, therefore they're smarter than the police. Here's the problem with that. Once you hit a keystroke, for the most part, you've been monitored by the police or by the FBI or a combination of both. Nobody even knows which one anymore, right? So you do these particular crimes in the safety of your home because you think, I'm okay. And guess what? The cops begin to watch, and over time they build their case, and a couple months later you're arrested anyway, right? So you're not that safe. I know if there's a safety in distance because you feel like, well, I've gotten somebody's credit card, I've gotten somebody's social security card, and I'm making these sales in the privacy of my own home. No, the system is set up all the time so that you get caught. The system is rigged, so to speak. Or as if, in gambling, it's the house always wins. The house being the police department, they're going to get you eventually.
What determines whether or not one of your clients go to trial or take a plea?
Okay, so there's a lot of background stuff that goes into whether somebody takes a plea or we go to trial. As we said, primarily is what you say, how much evidence you give to the police up front. The second thing is we look at your record. Do you have a record of engaging in these activities? If it's your first time, we have to say, well, this seems inconsistent with your character. If it's your third, fourth, or fifth time, it changes the analysis. The next thing that takes precedent is, and this sounds crazy, but do you have sense? And what I mean by that is this. If you went and somebody pissed you off and you punched them in front of 5 cameras and 10 witnesses, we generally are not taking that case to trial.
Right. Okay. What's the best defense if you have 10 pounds of marijuana?
Well, it depends on how much time you have. Smoke it? No, I'm kidding.
Eat it? Is it the search,
Well, okay, so it starts from how did they discover the 10 pounds of marijuana?
Mm-hmm.
By what means? Is it 10 pounds of marijuana in your car? Is it 10 pounds of marijuana in your house?
Right. Is it in plain view? Was there a warrant?
Exactly. So there's a whole host of steps that you have to analyze, right? Now, is it packaged? Is it not packaged? Because it does make a difference. If you have 10 pounds of marijuana, but it's nicely packaged in $5 packages, that changes the mindset. Because now that is possession and now can also be sale, right? As opposed to, look, this is for medicinal purposes or medicinal use. It makes a difference. So, but it becomes, who did you let in your house? You understand? Okay. Because there's the sort of undercover cops that are always lurking, right? Are you actually selling marijuana? Okay. That makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. And right? Then the people who get caught sometimes, the husband or the boyfriend, he's the weed man.
Yes.
But his girlfriend or his wife, they're just there, but they're not but they get arrested.
All right. So when the cops come into your house, if they have a warrant, by whichever means they get it, everybody gets arrested. Mm-hmm. And then what they hope is that the weakest link will start talking, which goes back to our original statement. Shut up. Don't say anything. Because the whole point is, if the cops walk into a room with 5 people, they are going to arrest all 5 persons and let them separate you, and they're going to have in-depth conversations with you. And eventually what happens most often is somebody starts spilling the beans.
Okay.
And that's where the investigation starts.
How about if you're coming into JFK with the marijuana or the cocaine and the customs guy? He obviously, they have their own observations. They know, they see patterns,
Yes.
right? And obviously, when you come in with those drugs and those drugs are seized, what's your defense? I mean, what can you do at that point in time?
Look, that then coming into the airport, the federal cases. Now, the feds do not play fair, which is to say you get no information, and by the time you get the information, they already have an indictment and everything laid out. Same scenario. Shut up, get an attorney. Because at that point, they have you on federal property with drugs.
Okay.
That's the case.
All right. So some people defense is, I didn't know it was in my bag, or someone forced me to bring it here.
Right.
What
But
should they do from the time they hit JFK?
look,
You know?
again, say nothing. You understand? Okay, so those two defenses that people generally use,
Right.
Let your lawyer make that argument.
Okay, but should they actually, when they come in, if they were actually mules on, it's normally poor people.
Right.
It's normally people who may have, it may be a woman most times whose husband or whose boyfriend is, setting them up, so to speak. They're not taking the risk. Should they report it immediately to the customs people and seek assistance from them?
That's one step, but understand that until they figure out what's what, you're still going to be held
Okay.
because they have to do an investigation.
But
right,
that kind of like exonerate or
it does help, and it can't. Okay, if the story makes sense, right? Look, you get there, and as soon as you get there, you say, "Look, I've been forced to do this against my will."
correct.
It does help.
Okay.
Right, but I've seen scenarios, and in fact, I have a specific case where a poor young lady was forced to swallow drugs, and I think she was coming from some country in South America. I'll put it that way.
Right.
And when she got here, they found the drugs on her, and they immediately arrested her. And the whole process for this poor young lady took about 18 months, where they kept her held for 18 months and then sent her back.
Right, because she couldn't make the bail and
Correct.
right. Okay. I had a similar case. My client, she only spent about 2 or 3 months here, but she was sent back also. And she had a couple kilos of cocaine. So,
Yeah.
and obviously this is in federal court, so I
Correct.
understand exactly what you're saying. So that 18 months is like a sentence but she probably, obviously, some of them think for whatever reason that their defense is great in terms of their story, and they don't want to move away from their story, and they waste time in prison. Or maybe, I don't know.
Well, in this instance, I mean,
So,
yeah.
all right. So we know that obviously when people lack income, people lack education. It has often been said that people who deal in the drug trade, not the high-ranking ones, the low-ranking ones, they actually make less than a minimum wage. Let's jump to domestic violence. What are the problems? And most times we know women are the victims.
Right.
But I have had several clients that are men that are, the victims of crimes. So we could end with this here. Domestic violence, right? What would you say to the ladies out there? They're not arrested, but they are the victims, and it breaks down the family, etc., etc. So whether it be the male or the female that are the perpetrators, what do you have to say on that?
Well, number one, as a former prosecutor, and I have to say it that way, and now defense attorney, you have to report it. It doesn't get better. It's a cyclical kind of situation where it may appear to get better, but it comes right back around. So report. And especially to my fellow Caribbeans who have concerns about immigrations and stuff like that, still report. You understand? It's not because your papers aren't correct, because you're not a citizen, is not a right for somebody to assault you in your home. So definitely report. The situation as it relates to the family is going to be worse off if you're in a situation where your kids are seeing you beaten, whether you're male or female, on a constant basis, right? So that's going to take care of itself. And if you're not there for your children because of this continuous assault in your home, that's even worse. So report it to the police. There are places you can go within the Assistant District Attorney's office where you can seek help. And also, you can call an attorney to ask the best steps to deal with the issues that you have. And there are also government aid in helping you if you have domestic violence cases.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Sharp. This is one of our first segments on criminal issues. If you need a defense attorney, if you need any type of help with any type of legal matter, always remember that you could give us a call here. Thank you.
Criminal defense and DUI attorneys, the law firm of Figueroa & Associates, offers aggressive local representation serving New York City. Driving under the influence, all misdemeanors and felony charges, drug possessions and sales, lewd conduct, theft and embezzlement, domestic violence, and police misconduct. All non-citizens are also given advice on immigration consequences of their arrest, plea, or conviction. To consult with an attorney, call 855-768-8845. Again, 855-768-8845. Don't gamble with your future.
Do you have a legal issue, question, or concern? Turn to Ask the Lawyer. You have questions? We've got answers. For a free consultation or to refer a client, visit www.askthelawyer.us. Again, www.askthelawyer.us. You can also register for our free paralegal program, get legal news, business consults, or other information on educational issues. Yes, Ask the Lawyer. You have questions? We've got answers. For a free consultation or to refer a client, visit www.askthelawyer.us. Again, www.askthelawyer.us.